Hey, we're back. Back at the Dwarf Fortress Super tutorial, that is. Okay, so when we last left off, we had just embarked with our 7 dwarves, and I kind of gave a very brief, probably ineffective tutorial on how to sort of move around. And, okay, so let's get started. I showed you last time that you can press K to look at individual things, but since Dwarf Fortress is very complicated, there's looking at things just using K isn't going to cut it for most things, and also doesn't allow you to interact with them. It just allows you to see what's there. So if you press Escape to exit out of that menu, if you press V, you can view creatures. V is for view. So you will automatically view the creature or dwarf or goblin, dog, cat, whatever that is closest to your little yellow cursor. And the view menu is very, very useful. It shows you a ton of information and allows you to do many interesting things. Interesting, yes. Okay, so when you first look at a dwarf like this, you're looking at the general little page, and the general page tells you all the skills your dwarves have. That includes like useful skills like cutting wood or mining or stuff like that, and also social skills that dwarves gain when they interact with other dwarves or creatures, mostly other dwarves. And it allows you to see at a glance what sort of skills your dwarves have, and what they would be useful for. Or if they have no skills, that means you don't care what happens to them. They are dirt. Alright, so you can look at the general page by pressing G. We're already on it, so nothing happened. But if you press I for inventory, we can look at all the different things that this dwarf is carrying on them. Most of this stuff is clothes, but lore, or I don't know how you say it, the O with the not on the top, whatever. He's also carrying a copper battle axe in his left hand. Copper battle axes can be used for attacking and also for cutting down trees. And if he's carrying anything else, or if he's like covered in blood, you'll be able to see that too on this page. And it's a good way to if your dwarf picks up something, you'll be able. This is a good way to be able to tell if he picked it up, what he's carrying, without just trying to figure it out by looking at the little flashing icon over his head. And then if you press the next little thing on the list is P for preferences. In preferences, this is also an important screen. From preferences, you can assign your dwarf different tasks he's allowed to do. Like if you press L for labor while we're on the P for preferences screen, L, we can see all the different skills this dwarf has allowed. Like for woodworking, if you press enter on woodworking, we can see that wood cutting has been highlighted. Press escape to go back, and all these other things that are grayed out, he's not allowed to do those tasks. He's allowed to do healthcare, such as feed patients and recover wounded. That basically just means he'll move wounded people to a hospital, and he'll bring a bucket of water or some food to an injured person in the hospital. That was one of his jobs. And he also has all of these hauling jobs enabled, which means that if there's any item that has a stockpile that's not full, he will, if he's not busy, move that item to a stockpile that is not filled. Sometimes this can be very annoying, and for dwarves that you want to focus on a specific task, it may be beneficial to remove these labors from a certain dwarf. And then other jobs, cleaning. That means basically cleaning up blood. There's a lot of that. Sometimes the dwarves don't do a very good job of cleaning up blood. Your map tends to be red if you your dwarves tend to die by being cut into pieces. Okay, next on our little list is you can press W. Oh wait, hold on. I'm not done yet. P for preferences, and then you can press E for work animals, and you can assign an animal to this dwarf. The animal will follow the dwarf around and protect it if it's a war animal, like a stray war dog. I'll go ahead and assign a stray war dog. I'll assign 2. No, just 1. 1, yeah. Because he's a woodcutter, he will be outside more, so maybe it'll be beneficial for him to have a dog to at least distract an enemy while he tries to get away. And speaking of trying to get away, if you don't get away, you get wounded, and you can look at the wounds that an animal or a dwarf has received by pressing W after you have viewed him with the V key. Press W, you can look at the health of his body. It lists all of his body parts, and you can determine what is wrong with this dwarf by looking at this page. Right now, all the body parts are white, which means they are healthy. But if his head was colored red, the word head was red, had red font, that would mean his head is bleeding, or is I think his head is bleeding. And if it was brown, I think it means the bones are broken. I think yellow means bruising. Purple, and then if he has nerve damage, it'll add another item to the list, and it'll say nerve damage or something, or brain damage, something like that. And if he loses an arm or a foot or something, it'll be grayed out. So it'll still be there, but the color of the font will be gray. And then if you press Z, it takes you to the units. What you would see if you went to the units page and hit enter on this dwarf's name. And from this page, you can press enter to see thoughts and preferences. And this is what makes this game so great: is you can choose an individual dwarf and find about his entire life, exactly what he looks like, what sort of things he likes. Like he likes horned silver tin, gray chalcedony, peregrine falcon leather. Who knew that? And he can handle stress. He tends to avoid crowds. He's often cheerful. I mean, some of the combinations you get are kind of strange, but people are strange, so that's okay. He's been quite content lately. Up at the top, the topmost line in gray, that will tell you all the things that the dwarf has been experiencing lately. And he sort of gets it's sort of like a happiness points system. The more times he's content, the more content he is. But if bad things happen to him, his friends die, or he doesn't have enough booze or something, his happiness will go down. It'll let you know on that top line. Okay, you can press escape. And if you press R for relationships, it shows you the relationships he has with all the other dwarves. So these top 2 are gods that he worships. This is his pet, and that I assigned to him. It's the war dog. And the war dog got named because now it's his pet. And apparently he has a grudge against Rakust, the siege engineer. You normally don't see that for a starting out pair of 7 dwarves, but you know what that means? It means it's really cool. It means that they both came from the same fortress somewhere else, and they have a grudge against each other, because they haven't had enough time really to form a grudge yet. So likely all these dwarves are from the same fortress in a different area, and these 2 already had a grudge with each other. I mean, what kind of game has that sort of complexity? I don't know. That's really cool. Alright, and then you can press Y to customize, and from here you can give him a nickname or a profession nickname. If a carpenter mason, or mason carpenter, miner carpenter, something like that. Or I mean, all the labors have specific names, but if your dwarf is legendary and multiple skills, it may help to give him a professional nickname. And customizing nicknames is just for it's just for you, really. It helps you find your dwarves easier. So, okay, go ahead and press escape. And as long as we're talking about names, let's go ahead and name our dwarves. I'll show you how from an easier menu. So you press U for units, and look at citizens. You can change from citizens like pets and livestock, others, dead, missing, using the left and right arrow keys. Look at citizens, and then you press V for view creation. You hover your cursor over the one you want. You press V, and then you press Y for customize, and then you press N for customize nickname. And we're gonna call this one. We're gonna call Zan. He's our head miner, so we're gonna call him Rocco. Rocco. That's a good name. Alright, Lore the carpenter. V for view creation, Y customize, N customize nickname. And we're gonna name Lore, we're gonna name him Chopper. No. Choppa. Yeah, and you just press escape to get back. Alright, V, view creation, Y, customize, N nickname, and this is Sarvesh the Mason. And we'll call this guy Blockers. Alright, I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name, but he's the metalsmith. V, Y, N. And we'll call this guy Magnum. Okay, Onal, V-Y-N. And he's a crafts dwarf. So, wait, hold on. Never mind, I don't care. So if you want to, you can find out if it's a male or female by hitting enter for thoughts and preferences, and seeing that's a girl. This is a girl. So probably all of these people I've been naming have been girls, but you know, nicknames are for pretty much for your sake. I mean, you don't really. I mean, you could care. Sometimes I do it that way, but a lot of times it's just easier to do the first name that pops off the top of your head. I'll call her Angela. Zephon, he, Y-N, customized nickname. And so we'll call, he's a farmer, so we'll call him Joe. He's Farmer Joe. Whoops. Alright, there we go. Ratcus the Season Engineer, V, enter, it's a girl. Y-N, customized nickname. Okay, and we'll call her Emily. Emily. Yes. No. That's not a good dwarf name. We'll call her Alexandra. Probably not a better dwarf name than the one than Emily, but who cares? So we got Rocco. Is this a girl? Is this a girl? No. We got Choppa. Also a boy. It's good because these are boy name. Blockers. I guess Blockers is an okay girl name. Magnum, he, good. Angela, Joe, and Alexandra. Coolios. And I'm not going to change the profession names. The profession names will automatically change based on the dwarf's highest skill. So this guy's Choppa's highest skill is carpentry. Blockers is mason. This guy Magnum is metalsmith. Angela is crafts dwarf, and so on and so forth. Okay, press escape. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to need is some wood, and Choppa will be able to get us some wood. So, but Choppa doesn't know where to chop the wood. We haven't given him any orders yet, so going to press D for designations, and then we're going to press T for chop down trees, and then we get a cursor. Okay, so, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box with my cursor. I'm going to hit enter over here, and then I'm going to drag my cursor over, and I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to hit enter. And see all the trees that are highlighted? Those trees will be chopped down by Choppa as soon as I unpause the game, because right now it's paused. And it's important that it's paused because while the game is unpaused, your dwarves are eating food and drinking booze and not doing any work if you're not assigning them tasks. So it's good to leave it paused until you have a job for all your dwarves. So Choppa's gonna chop down some trees, and let's go ahead and let him do that. So I'm gonna unpause the game, and Choppa's chopping down some trees. Cool, cool. Okay. Now that Choppa's chopped down some trees, we need a place to convert the raw lumber into useful things like barrels and beds and stuff. mostly beds. So to do that, we need to build a workshop. So we press B, build, W, workshops, C for carpenter's workshop, and the same deal. You just scroll up with the arrow keys over to where you want, and then you press enter. And workshops require materials. They can be made out of pretty much anything: wood, rock, metal, porcelain, clay, whatever, you name it. Think workshops can be made out of them, but I'm just going to use ash logs since they're the closest. So just hit enter, and as soon as Chopper has a moment, since he's a carpenter, he will use an ash log and build our carpenter's workshop. And he should do that as soon as he finishes chopping down his trees. What's he doing? He looks like he's taking a break. No, he wasn't. He was just chopping down a tree where we couldn't see it. The thing is about trees is dwarves can't occupy the same spaces as trees. See, there he goes. He picked up the wood, and he's building his craftsdwarf workshop, and it's not carpenter's workshop. And the dog was standing on it, so it didn't work. And so see, the construction's suspended. I don't know if you saw that, but the dog was standing on top of the workshop while Chopper was trying to build it, and that of course suspended the construction because it couldn't be completed. So to undo that, you just press Q for query, and then you press S to unsuspend the construction. Now Chopper should go back and finish it, and it's complete. So we press Q for query, and this is what you'll use to interact with workshops, is Q for query. Okay, and so to let's go ahead and make some beds. Our dwarves need to sleep, and they hate sleeping on the ground, although they will. It just means they don't sleep as good. So we have 7 dwarves, so probably 5 beds will do for now. So if you press A for add new task, and then B for bed, you'll see that we now have an order to construct 1 bed. Okay, and so I'll just do that 5 more times. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Okay, and that's good. And then you press escape, and now Chopper will grab logs and turn them into beds. But we won't be able to see the beds until we have a furniture stockpile. But I'll get to that in a minute. We'll just let Chopper build beds for a little bit. He'll probably be done before I finish talking. Okay. Now we need a place where our dwarves can live that is out of the rain and the snow. Okay, and actually, trying to think of where I want this to be. Alright, over here looks like a good spot. So if we go down a Z level, I'm going to start mining. So we're going to press D for designations, and this black area here is underground. This white area is above ground, and this is a wall of dirt. So, no. Alright, this may be confusing for some of you, but I normally don't do fortresses by digging inside the wall. I normally do them by using a downward stairway. And you can do downward stairway by pressing J. Downward stairway. You see over on the right, downward stairway is now highlighted. Now, using the same technique as I used for the chopping down the trees, I'm going to hit enter, drag it 2 down, and hit enter again. Now, when I unpause it, my dwarves have dug a downward staircase. Now if we go down to Z level, you can see there are 3 little dirt walls in the middle of the empty blackness. That is where the staircases are, and that means my dwarves can access the tops of those blocks. So if you press D for designations and I for up-down stairway, we can create an infinite spiral staircase all the way down. So we do the same thing. Press enter, drag it 3 squares. Press it again, and I'm just going to go ahead and make 2 more. I'm going to go down another Z level, enter to the right, press enter, down another Z level, enter to the left, enter, and now my dwarves will begin to build this up-down stairway, and it takes very little time. Alright. Now, I'm going to see what this is by pressing K. What kind of... This is white sand. That'll be fine. What is this? Silt loam. Okay. Alright, now our dwarves need to start digging some rooms. So you press D for designations, and then D again for dig, or mine. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and drag a little box right here. My dwarves will mine that out real quick. They can mine dirt very quickly. And see, now I have a little room where my dwarves can be. Alright. Here we go. I'm going to mine a little doorway here. And now I'm going to mine a little area right here. And how many squares is that? It's 8. Okay. And now my dwarves will begin mining out this little room right here. And while they're doing that, well, they'll be done pretty soon. I'll show you what else we're going to do. Alright, Chopper's not doing anything, so I'm going to have him chop down some more trees. Hop to it, Chopper. And you can hold down shift to make your cursor do greater leaps. Like this is just normal left, but then shift left, shift right, shift up, shift down. It'll make your cursor move faster, so it's good for designating large areas. Shift down. And we're down another Z level. And looks like they're almost finished here. Okay. Now that we have some rooms underground where dwarves like to live, let's go ahead and place some of those beds so our dwarves can sleep. So press B for build, B for bed, and enter. And now it allows us to choose the bed we want to place. And the bed you want to place depends on what kind of bedroom you're trying to make it. If you want it like a legendary bed made out of like white deer bone or something, you may want to choose that one specifically out of this list. But it really doesn't matter. So you just press B, you just press enter, B, another bed, enter, choose a bed, B, another bed, enter, choose another bed, B, enter. And let's go ahead and place all 5 beds. Okay, good. So now our dwarves start building beds. Oh, look, that was quick. They already built all of their little beds. Okay, we're going to do one more thing real quick, and then I'm going to wrap this video up. Okay. So now we have these beds. We're going to talk really quick about stockpiles. Stockpiles are where your dwarves store things. So like wood, food, booze, ammunition, weapons, all sorts of awesome stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and create some stockpiles. We need a wood stockpile for all our wood, and we do that by the same method as we had all this, as we've done all the other stuff, by creating a rectangle. So I'm going to create it right next to the the carpenter dwarf's workshop. That's a wood pile. I did that by pressing wood, and that W. And I'm going to create a refuse stockpile, so that if there's any refuse inside our cave, the dwarves will take it out and put it here. That way it doesn't stink up. Alright. So now our dwarves will start moving out and putting all our wood in our wood stockpile. Okay, and they'll be done very soon because all of them have nothing to do. And alright, what other piles do we need? We have and over here on this side we will have a furniture storage stockpile, which is where all the finished furniture will go. There's no finished furniture right now because it's all already placed as these beds. It says Choppa has become a woodworker. That just means that's now his most proficient skill. Okay. And now in the second room right here, let's build a farm. Farms can be built in soil or sand, or silt or clay or loam or whatever. As long as it's not rock, they can be built. And we need a farm. So you press B, P for plot, and if you press enter right now, you will get a 1x1 farm plot, which will not get you a lot of food. So let's resize that by pressing U to make it bigger, make it the size of the room, and K to make it bigger horizontally till it matches the size of the room. Then you press enter, and our farmer Joe will come over here and build the plot. And farms are where you plant seeds that grow into crops over the year, and you can have there are 4 different seasons, so you can have 4 different types of crops being grown throughout the year. So you press Q to query the farm, and we have plump helmets. If you remember from the embark screen, that's the only food we have. And when a dwarf eats a plump helmet, he drops like 2 seeds. So plump helmets are an excellent choice. Plus they can be brewed into dwarven, I think it's wine or beer? I can't remember. But plump helmets for spring. A is for spring. A, plump helmets. I selected plus plump helmets with enter. And then you press B for summer. You scroll down to plump helmets, press enter. C for autumn, plump helmets, enter. D for winter, plump helmets. Good job. See, for all the different seasons, A, spring, B, summer, C, autumn, and D, winter, I have chosen to plant plump helmets. And there's really not a negative side of planting plump helmets all year. I mean, I guess there are some nice farming bonuses if you fertilize it and all that stuff, but it's really not worth it when it's really so much easier just to create a massive farm, and you'll have more than enough food for your dwarves. Okay, so now, if there are any plump helmet seeds available, Joe Schmo should start planting plump helmet seeds. But my dwarves have likely not had any time to eat plump helmets. So as soon as they do, Joe will start planting seeds, and plump helmets will begin to grow. Okay, that just about wraps it up for this episode. I'm going to go ahead and stop before my video runs too long. I'm trying to keep it to where I can upload it to YouTube in a reasonable amount of time. Internet speed is not that great. So, see you guys later. Hope you join us for the next video.